Good morning, everyone. God bless you. Thank you for participating in our broadcast. Last night I was meditating and El Moria came and gave me a list of concerns of the Universal or Great White Brotherhood for now. So I shall share these with you. The first, which relates to the first ray, is planetary stability. The prevention of nuclear exchanges and world wars, the prevention of genocide, the prevention or mitigation of massive global natural cataclysms or incidents, and the prevention of governmental takeovers by dark forces. So again, planetary stability. The second, relating to the second ray, is accelerated enlightenment of civilization as a whole, which includes educational freedom, freedom of the press, viable messengers of truth who have a platform for the dissemination of divine wisdom from the ascended hosts, and a constant and gradual shift in consciousness upward into the light of all peoples. The third, related to the third ray, the establishment and continuity of spiritual communities. Those who are bringing forth from the ancient lineages that the Ascended Masters began in prior ages, the true Vedic teachings, Taoist, Buddhist, Zoroastrian, Kabbalistic, and Christic truths. These are the modern-day mystery schools established within these communities that receive much of their inspiration from the ancient Bulgarian, Egyptian, and Essene mystery teachings and legacies. Related to the fourth ray now is the prevention of attack on life, families, women, and children. So this manifests as a return to an understanding of the sanctity of life, the elimination of abortion, child molestation and abuse, the abuse of women, the suppression of women and the divine feminine, and the compromise of the family through all manner of licentious behaviors and the political correctness that manifests now through all manner of perverse sexual orientation initiatives. The fifth ray relates to the integrity of healing institutions and modalities and practitioners' freedom to pursue the truth of their usage of natural means of healing, and also the control of the monetary system. So this involves the transmutation of the compromise of current Western medical systems through Big Pharma, including the takeover of medical schools and the continuing murder of very important and wonderful alternative practitioners. This includes the elimination of the Federal Reserve System, the exposure of international banksters, as the Master has put it, which is bank gangsters, and their manipulation of Wall Street through greed, graft, and usury. The sixth ray relates to the protection of religious institutions, righteous clergy, holy orders, from destruction, the exposure and elimination of false teachings within religions, the restoration of monasteries that have been destroyed, the return of the devoted ones to holy orders, and the elimination of homosexuality within the priesthood, and the elimination of the need for greed, lust, sin within clergy and ministers through enlightened spiritual leadership. The seventh ray relates to the transmutation of pollution within Mother Nature and the compromise of our earth through perverted business, enterprises, this includes the elimination of the use of nuclear energy and the weapons of mass destruction and waste of all kinds, chemtrails and geoengineering, the use of toxic fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, and all manner of water, air, and ground pollution. So these are the concerns, the major concerns of the great or universal white brotherhood for today, that we can make calls on, that we can focus upon in our services. We have many prayers that elucidate with great detail what we've already been given by the Masters, and we can use this understanding to focus even more at this time. These great concerns are what they work on through their initiates on earth to forestall all manner of dire situations, problems, which could result in mass loss of life, and of course the perversion of science and industry. There could be much more that would be shared in terms of inoculations that have terrible substances within them, vaccines, and population control through abortion, through chemtrails, through toxicity of all kinds, and the compromise in the medical profession that has resulted in many, many people dying early and needlessly through diseases, cancers, that have been foisted upon us in order to wipe out the population on earth of vast numbers of people. You may have heard of Agenda 21. If you haven't heard of this, Google it and study it. You will see the diabolical plots and strategies of the Dark Ones. Many people simply cannot believe that this level of evil exists. And from my study and understanding, when people are desensitized, when they no longer feel the godlight within them, then they have no feeling for others, and they can do evil things. They don't sense that what they do is morally wrong. They justify it. The means justify the ends. So much of this agenda is being exposed. People are awakening. People are, through the alternative media, finding the truth. People are realizing that they must be enlightened. They must come to terms with who they are, become self-realized in order to counterbalance the darkness that assails us and the strategies and plots of the Dark Ones. Yes, we can make calls on all these things outside of ourselves. Ultimately, though, we must be that change that we desire to see in the world. And how are we that change? By being illumined, enlightened, self-realized. By going within, meditating, praying, knowing who we are, reconnecting with our divine presence and our divine source, our elder brothers and sisters, the ascended masters, utilizing their teachings and spreading them far and wide so that more people can awaken to the truth and know what is happening on earth. Many people go about their lives living in Maya, living in illusion, and they just simply haven't awakened yet to all of these truths, these understandings, and ultimately to their own divine source, their presence. How can we help illumine, awaken, and enlighten everyone? By being that light ourselves, by retaining our Buddhic state of beingness, from which and through which we emanate light that itself illumines, enlightens, and highlights the brightest, the best, the most beautiful, brings it into focus, into proximity within our lives. We focus upon that light, we become that light, we are that light, and the light shining brightly through us then dispels the darkness, exposes unreality, Maya, illusion, for what it is. And once it is exposed, people make right choices to no longer live in the darkness. They desire to live in the light, fully illumined, bright, abundant, utilizing their gifts and talents to glorify God and magnify the Lord, to do those righteous things and lead those righteous lives that all sons and daughters of God are destined to lead. The psychology of illumination, wakefulness, enlightenment is something that we should study and realize what the Buddha provided through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path as an understanding of the way out of this Mayic state of being, of what Jesus taught, of compassion and love that is the key to our true becoming who we are, of what all the great masters have demonstrated through their lives lived to the glory of God, where they gave their lives to illumine us, to enlighten us, to quicken us. Once we are quickened, illumined, and enlightened, then it is incumbent upon us to also help others, to help quicken, illumine, and enlighten them, so that they can be self-realized and live in accord with divine law, in accord with all of the beautiful laws of creation that God has set in motion to sustain the cosmos in the field of divine joy, radiance, holiness, peace, brother, sisterhood, and love, that it is our right and our destiny to enjoy, to experience, to revel in. Though we name elements of Maya in our prayers for their transmutation, we are primarily now focused, though, on using conscious language to draw forth from the divine worlds the pristine, the beautiful, the divine, into manifestation. And the more we focus on the light and use conscious language to draw forth the sublime into our world, to bring heaven upon earth, the quicker it will manifest. The easier it will be facilitated. If we focus too much on conspiracy theories and all of the elements of darkness, without concurrently blazing forth the light of God that always prevails through our awareness tethered to God, then we compromise our path. So at least 80% of our focus is upon light, illumination, the virtues of God, our own godly nature, the Ascended Master's teachings, and no more than 20% of our time should go into the study of darkness, because we simply cannot sustain ourselves in our highest vibration when we lower our vibration through this focus upon all that is of the energy veil. Eventually, once you maintain that 80% focus upon light, you will desire to go there and remain there permanently in the light. Sustain that fire, sustain that grace, sustain the radiance of your own solar presence. And then eventually, like the great silent watchers, like God, Him, herself, live 100% in that state of pure beingness. Because in that state of Buddhic awareness, the light does dispel the darkness. You don't have to focus upon it anymore. You live as God lives. Mine eyes are too pure to behold iniquity. That is what the all-seeing eye of God is. Yes, it exposes darkness, yet it itself remains focused upon the ideal, the perfection, the illumined, awakened, quickened state. All is in violet, in God beauty. Now we are constantly shifting gears through our consciousness wed to God to maintain our orbit around the solar hub of perfection, the great central sun, and the local focus of the great central sun, our sun, and then our even more personal focus of the great central sun, our I am God presence, or what we call our solar presence. And when we maintain that state of beingness in, through, and around our presence, then everything magically happens more harmoniously, more beautifully. A lot of the dramas and the dialectics of darkness just seem to vanish, go away, are no more. When you have focused on a project so much and you are drawing it into manifestation through your work, through the lens of your awareness, true to its conclusiveness, to its finality, to its perfectionment, everything else is dispelled. You are with laser-like focus, determined to accomplish your end, your desired result, your alchemy. And therefore, with that laser focus, the brightness of your being intensified on and determined to draw forth this beauty of perfection, dispels all of the shadows, all of the darkness, all of the nonsense, all of the interruptions, and the Mayic attempts to divert you from that reality, that beautiful being state of awe and wonderment in the very presence of God. No matter where you have come from, what teachings you have studied, what communities you have lived in, what masters you have been invested in studying, or those who have tutored you, now is the time to draw the brightest, the best, the most beautiful and divine into manifestation by your focus, by your love, by your light, so that we can maintain planetary stability. We can have an accelerated enlightenment of all people, all of civilization. We can have the reestablishment and the continuity of spiritual communities everywhere around the world. We can have this return to an understanding of the sanctity of life, the rightful place of women and children and families in our society. We can have higher institutions of learning, of wholeness and healing, a new monetary system that values everyone just for who they are and that utilizes everything in the natural world in the right way. We can have return to enlightened religious institutions, a holy clergy, holy orders that hold this planetary balance through their prayers, their mantras, their Gregorian chants, the light that they emanate through their devotions. And we can have a return to a wonderful, green, and whole planet where all of the toxicity is released and transmuted, and we live again in an Eden, like the Eden that God created in the beginning, a beautiful planet vouchsafed to us for our learning, our self-mastery, our experimentation, and our self-discovery. When we work assiduously for all of these, day after day, together as one community, one spiritual family, and we focus the collective energies of our consciousness through oneness toward this holy cause of planetary freedom, brother, sisterhood, and love, with Afra, with Saint Germain, with the Great White Brotherhood, with all of these beautiful angels and archangels, Elohim, cosmic beings, and divine ones, and beautiful devas of light, then we gradually see a brighter world. We maintain that peace within that manifests as the peace without. You all are having amazing experiences day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year with God. When you love God with your entire heart, mind, strength, or will, and soul, and you love your neighbor as yourself. We come back to this commandment, this great commandment, and we focus again and again on feeling that love, experiencing that love of God, talking to God, walking with God, emanating with God, the light who we are, being in our presence, practicing the science of the presence, the art of the presence, the art and the science of living in the eternal now, in the present moment of our oneness state of pure beingness, in that unity field of beingness. When we continue to practice and return to this focused life of living and loving God with all of our being, then we do make progress. And that gradual, step-by-step, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly progress brings us to the fulfillment of our lives, our mission, our joyful mission to help our planet, to illumine her people, to bless everyone, bless all life, caress all life, love all life. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.